Would you like to see some drone footage? Here we go. Hello, welcome to the channel. This is my review of the Integra goggles and this thing, the controller, all connected to my DJI Mini3 Pro. Most of my opinions on these two have already been expressed on the DJI Avata review that I did. Here's just some unique points that I wanted to bring up, specifically these two accessories with the DJI Mini3. My personal opinion essentially is it's the sweet spot between the Avata with them two and this with a controller. So I expressed in my other review, my Avata review, of how fun the Avata is and how, you might say, sensible the DJI Mini3 Pro is. That is very true. So this combination together really is that sweet spot, is the combination between fun and functional, if you might want to put it that way. What I would say is I've gone through more propeller blades with this combined with the goggles and the motion controller 2 than I've gone through blades with just the controller. So really all I'm saying there is I've been using these two and I've been taking so many more risks when I've been flying, because you have some sense of security or some sort of sense of confidence, more confidence than you would have with just the controller. So the controller, obviously you've got, let's just say it's out of sight and you're looking at the screen. This doesn't give you a very good sense of what's around you, other than rotating the drone around and getting a view of your surroundings and having, you know, an image in your mind of what's around and what's next to you. So if you're close to stuff, yeah, if you're up in the air and there's nothing around you, fine. Where the goggles come into play with the motion controller 2 and flying in and around stuff, what I found is you just do have that little bit more confidence because of the perspective you have and the control you have with the motion controller. Flying in and around things is very fun, and that's where the fun aspect comes into play, like the DJI Avata. But obviously the biggest difference is this, even with a prop guard on, you're still going to hit things. And I have gone through quite a few blades and a few instances, which I made a few shorts about. I did send the DJI Avata back. I do really like that drone. I love that drone and it is very fun. But for my everyday use scenarios, I don't necessarily need the Avata. So it's great to use it and to really shoot a lot of things and go to a bunch of different places with it and different types of shots I was capturing with it. But it's just not my daily driver when it comes to my drone needs, and my DJI Mini3 is. So one scenario was I was flying the combo together, right, in the controller, and just in and around my in-laws. They have some cool backyard play stuff and trampoline, and I was flying up and around and all that stuff. Got a little bit too confident and ended up hitting some stuff, and I did not have the propeller guard on at that point. So I ding some blades up. Primarily this combo just splits the difference between the two. It takes the sensible side of the DJI 3 with a controller, it takes the DJI Avata with the motion control and the FPV view and gives you it, and you get some very cool shots with your DJI Mini3 Pro, or if you want to pair it with one of the other options that's available, I'll put the list up on the screen. The problem is the form factor of the DJI Mini3 is just bigger, and open blades, even with a propeller guard on, yeah, you're probably going to hit something. And that's the whole point of, not the whole point of FPV, but that is very common with FPV flying. So when you're in first person view mode, yeah, you're gonna do some things, try and get some gaps and try and feed the drone through places and next to things that maybe you wouldn't with just a controller, because you have that confidence and because you have very great control with the controller. It sounds weird when you say it like that. So you get very precise controls with this, I think anyway, or at least I can. I'm pretty confident with this thing now, but you're just probably gonna hit something. One interesting scenario I had was, I had the controller and everything all linked up with this. This was on the driveway and my wife was out there with me. Actually, I wanted to show her, I wanted to teach her a little bit of how to fly with this and get some footage with her doing it. And you double tap to start and you press up. And I pressed up for it to rise from the ground, and I let go maybe a little bit too early, so it didn't have enough power and it started to go down. I'm like, okay, well, it's starting to go down. It's starting to fall essentially from about a foot or two up. I put more power on. And what happened at that point was the drone basically just launched forward. I wasn't touching the trigger, which is that's how you'd go forward. So I was just pressing up on the stick and it launched forward into my wife's leg and really cut her leg up quite bad. I'd hate to think if it was another part of the body or if it was one of the kids or somebody else that got hit with the drone, but it just flew essentially as fast as it could at my wife's leg and really cut her up. And it was stinging, it was hard, felt so bad. Don't know how, don't know why, didn't report it to DJI, but that was one incident that happened. So I don't know if it was a glitch, don't know if it was just something random, but certainly something that shouldn't have happened just by pressing the up button on here to raise the drone. I think it just put power on it and just sent it forward. And I don't know. By all means, I don't think that's a common occurrence. So I don't think most people probably have that experience with it. It was just probably a one-off and a glitch, but it did happen, so I thought I'd mention it. This may be true or not. From my experience, the difference between the DJI Avata and the Mini3 Pro, the quality of image that gets through seems to be better, as well as the range seems to be better as well. I always felt like I could get a little bit further without the signal kind of cutting out with my Mini3 Pro than I could the Avata. Possibly. It just always seemed to be a better thing with the Mini3 Pro than the Avata. So I was debating as to whether I was going to keep the combo together. So obviously I have the option with my controller or the FPV and the motion controller, but in all honesty, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I love the Avata and I love the whole experience with the same setup, just that one drone, with the same setup with my drone. I can't see me using it as much as I thought I was going to. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I did the Avata. I am going to be sending it back, which I am sad to say, because I like it, but I think for the FPV style flying, you do need a specific FPV drone like the Avata. All my other positives, I guess you might say, from this combo still apply. That doesn't change. All of my other review of the DJI Avata. I like all the new implementations of the technology that they brought up from generation to generation. The battery being in the back is great. The reverse feature on the sticks, great. This joystick going up and down, left and right. Again, just changing the expo settings to make it a little bit better. So all points I've made in my other video, and I do actually highly recommend this. If you haven't flown FPV before, you have this and you want to add to it, yeah, I think that could be worth your money, but for me, $700-800, however much it costs for that combo, I just don't think I'm going to use it as much as I thought I was going to. One example was my wife and I went on a date, an early morning hike up that same mountain. That's pretty close to us. Got a few videos from up there. I've done a lot of videos up there. And for the shots we were getting, I used my controller for everything. And I took in my bag, I took the goggles and the controller, but I didn't get them out. I kind of wanted to, but with the time crunch we had, we ended up spending about 3 hours up there, and we had the in-laws minding the kids, so we were conscious of time. I would love to have gotten the goggles out and the controller, but for everything I ended up using the drone for and the shots we were getting, really my controller did everything. And obviously you're losing out your quick shots, your master shots, all these different pre-programmed shots that you can get through the controller. You're missing out on them with the FPV because it's not what it's designed for. You're not using the FPV style accessories to get cinematic stuff. That's what the controller's for. Two different case scenarios, but for me, just in that scenario, it was just so much simpler to use the controller, get all the fun shots we wanted, utilize what we had. One of the negative, and this may be me, and I mentioned this in my other review, but it probably is me, the switching between the goggles and the remote to the controller just doesn't seem to be simple and quick. You have to bind them, unbind them, this, that, and the other. Don't quite get it, and you have to be on Wi-Fi to do it. So I actually believe if we were on that hike and I was going to switch over to the goggles and the controller, I would have had to have Wi-Fi or connect my phone up and this, that, and the other to do that switching. So I just didn't figure out a quick and simple way of going from one to the other. If it was that simple, I might have used it a lot more, but there you go. That's been my review of these two. I'm sick of seeing the names at this point, so these things. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please check out the DJI Avata review. It's here, or here, or here, or here. I'll put it somewhere. I'll put it at the end of the video too, put it in the link. And if you like any of this stuff, the links are in the description below. So for now, thank you. Have a great day. Bye. There you go. What did you think?